How do you feel the Super League season went ahead of the World Cup?
I thought it was a really good season. I think the nature of the results throughout the season, there wasn't necessarily 4 distinct teams at the top of the table, and I think that made it really exciting, not only for the players within the competition itself, but for fans. So I think Bath finishing third, I think, is a respectable result given the level of consistency throughout the season. But yeah, I think it's good to see it grow from strength to strength, and before we head into World Cup.
And was it nice to play with Serena, having Serena back?
It was. She's such a character, but I think in terms of the level of leadership that she brings to the team, she really can kind of control that middle for us. And it's wonderful to also have like Kim Kamain in the team. So it was kind of a new look Bath squad, and Serena, as usual, brought her flair and enthusiasm, which was definitely welcomed.
And how do you compare? Is it comparable, the Super League, with what's coming?
There's parts and elements of it. I think this year, especially because it's definitely been a more physical competition this year. I think the level of standard and the speed of the game has definitely increased since last year. And there were many games that were either finishing in between like 4 or 5 goals. So it's definitely going to be a step up to international level. And I think welcoming back some of the athletes and the girls from there is definitely going to raise some of the Super League athletes' game. But it's definitely been a good preparation in terms of that level of competition.
You talked about seeing a tangible difference between last year and this year. Where do you think the Super League is going to go in the next sort of 3 or 4 or 5 years? Even?
I think the hope is that the league becomes completely professionalised.
Yeah.
I think the fact that there's more teams being able to compete for those top places makes it more interesting, and obviously they're spread out around the country. I think hopefully with the Netball World Cup and the level of interest and hopefully enthusiasm that's going to be hopefully generated from the competition itself, it just makes more people turn up, show up to watch the games, and again it attracts that commercial investment in order to hopefully make the league professional.
What's the one thing you wish people knew about netball?
One thing people wish knew, I think, blah, blah, blah. One thing I wish people knew about netball, it's not just for girls.
Yes, that is something we've seen actually. A lot of the international teams are playing men's sides. Do you wish you guys were playing the nights?
We've played the nights.
Yeah, you played them,
We've
okay.
played the nights, and it was a really good experience. I think because you don't know what to expect, they bring a completely different style of netball, and it's always good banter as to whether the boys or the girls are going to win. So New Zealand just played the men's team,
That was close,
and
wasn't
it was
so
incredibly close, but so fantastic to watch. So it's so all-inclusive, and I think that's one thing I wish people knew more about.
And what do you think needs to be done for netball to make that final step into the mainstream, to get it out there for all to see?
I think the continued coverage of netball.
Yep.
I think we've seen this summer an increased coverage of women's sport across the board, and it's so wonderful to go out to the supermarket and people are, oh, netball, we watched that at 4 a.m. in the morning, we were screaming at the TV, and I think some of that is driven by the results. Mm-hmm. So I think in order for it to become more mainstream, for it to continue to become more popular, we have to continue delivering the results, keep spreading the message, keep inspiring the younger generations, keep inspiring women to go back and play netball, and I think hopefully we will see the sport at the echelons that it so rightly deserves.
And do you feel that pressure on the results in order for netball to do well? Is that something that is it burdensome at all, that you have to think, I need results because netball needs to grow?
I don't think it's a pressure at all. I think it's an aspiration. We definitely talk about within the Roses and in the Roses programme about leaving the dress in a better place. Mm-hmm. And that goes for all the athletes who have gone before us in terms of they fought for us and had that ambition that we would win gold at one point in time. And we're so lucky at this moment in time we did that last year, and we're aspiring again to do it again this summer in the Netball World Cup. So I definitely don't think it's a pressure. I think it's a responsibility of each of the athletes within the Roses programme, and although to set a good example so that the ones coming up behind us can either follow in our footsteps and obviously leave the dress in an even better place than where it is at the moment in time.
Fantastic answer, that is incredible. You've nailed that.
Thank you.
Have you been practicing?
No.
Just off the cuff. Someone has been following Michelle Obama. I suppose the next thing I want to ask, really, actually, is there anything about you that we don't know that people would remember when they come to remember you in the years to come? Put you on the spot.
She's a comedian.
Anything you don't know about me? I think, no.
That is also defining.
That is also defining. I was once such like a champion chess player. Does that make it? Is that boring?
That is amazing.
Is it?
That's amazing.
Yeah. I actually really enjoy it.
Do you think about that on the netball court?
Not at all.
Not
No.
Because I always think the first kind of minute or two of a netball game is a bit like chess, whereas it's like, I'll try your defence, you try our defence, like before it gets like really in the swing of it. So.
I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I definitely think there's like strategy and like assessing the opposition and making the best move, but I haven't really thought about chess, but maybe I'll improve my game if I did.
And here's one for you about, so Uganda in the first match.
Yeah.
That shooting circle could be pretty enormous. How do you approach that as a defender?
Do you know what? Uganda have been improving each and every year. I think having played them in the Commonwealth Games, I think they were definitely unexpected. They were consistent, they were connected. I think the style of the play, the African style of play, possession netball, has grown. I think we saw Malawi first do that, and Uganda have definitely adopted it. So they were definitely a challenge for us. But I think having played them in the series last December, and we beat them, I think we beat them quite convincingly over the 3 tests, I think gave us real confidence in terms of how we need to play against that style of like an African style of play. So Uganda's first match, I think Peace Pascrovia has had a phenomenal season at Suncorp Super Netball so far, and she's a real target for them in the back, and they're very much a confidence team. So we're going to have our wits about us in terms of shutting her down nice and early, but also just remembering just to stick to our own game plan.
Okay, well, one last question, and I've asked this for everybody, so forgive me for asking it because it's horrible.
No worries.
Would you rather that you set a legacy for netball where you knew after the World Cup more people played and that was it, or would you rather win gold?
Ooh!
Yeah.
I think I'd rather win gold.
Yeah?
Because hopefully that would send the message that anyone and everyone can have the opportunity and do it.
Yeah.
So hopefully the legacy would just follow on from that.
Right answer.
Did everyone else say that as well?
Helen was straight away with, well, gold.
Yeah.
Rachel was like, no, I think, yeah, the gold would help. And
I think the
legacy
legacy is important, but I think having seen the reaction and the level of positivity from the Commonwealth Games gold, I think a double gold would hopefully like transcend the sports and like into having its own legacy and its own right.
Fingers crossed, because I'm going to be behind you. Thank you so much.
No worries.